So they said I was going to now have to create everything I had created within the context of no lines.
So the few times that you did the lines, did they just reuse what you did before, or did they actually ask you?
No, every time I recorded a script, they went through, because they wanted a couple of things. The only thing they logged, they had a library of screams, because there were so many screams. And out of mercy to your beloved, I'm getting that video! Everybody get me that video! Anyway, so so at that point they said, you know what, we got it in the library. Your throat is starting to sound a little scratchy, kind of like it does right now after 4 days at the great Florida Supercon. But so they basically, but every time I had to do it each time because they needed that file separate. They didn't want to have to be taking things and putting it here, and God forbid they lose the screams file. They would still ask me the screams file. They would actually ask me to do a scream or two still every single episode, which I did enjoy doing after. I enjoyed the screaming; it was fun. And so they did that, and so yeah, I was very disappointed. There was a little bit of suffering inside as an actor because they're taking my lines away from me. And they must be that they're not happy with the way I've delivered, but the actors go through that all the time, worrying about, oh my God, they took my lines away from me. Maybe they don't like, maybe it wasn't that at all. They just were always going through weird stuff. And ultimately, it was actually more of a challenge. In a way, the second, third, and fourth seasons, more of a challenge because it was really, I had to really communicate and get things across without the lines. So it was great. I enjoyed doing it once I got used to the idea.
It was kind of a fun challenge because you had to find a way to emote using
That's right.
just
Absolutely. Well, no, I did do just those sounds. Yeah, those were the sounds I would be doing. Yeah! Do it again. Those sounds. Thank you, man. So it turned into a good thing. Was that answering? I don't remember the question.
You covered it, man. I want to ask about, did you actually work with the other actors in the sound booth, or
never worked with the other? I would see the other actors. Sometimes there'd be an overlap, and I would see them in the lobby of the recording studio. They would watch, the session a little bit, or I would watch their session. But there was always one person alone in a booth. That is not always how it is done, but often it is how it's done. I was misled. I just found out something this weekend. Because I used to make, disparaging comments. This might cover a later question you might have. I'm going to cover all you. It's going to be a very easy job for you today, Jason. I just want you to know
I'm
that.
just sailing.
But I would say make disparaging comments about the stars who basically have swooped in and taken all the really cool roles in animated films. Which is not their fault. They are approached by big bids, selling tickets, voices by Robin Williams. When he was around, he did the genie, right? Tom Hanks, Cameron Diaz. And so, Nathan Lane. So you would say, okay, these are the voices of Billy Crystal and all these people, and that sells tickets, rather than these wonderful voiceover artists who did the previous work, since the 1940s and 50s, 60s, even into the 70s, doing just the voices. Not that there were never stars doing, but those were more, an anomaly rather than the norm. That these, these just regular skilled, much crazy more skilled than I am with regards to their work with the craft of voiceover and interpreting and stretching their voice, simply doing it in an economical style. Just brilliant at that. They'd get the lion's share of the work doing the voiceovers for all these sorts of things. So now they were bumped down a notch, right? And so Marty Grabstein, who steps up, actor, journeyman actor, bouncing around, getting paid sometimes, scores big on a nice, juicy show, lead role in a cool show. First time out of the box doing that kind of thing. He goes down below them, right, in terms of opportunities. And the rest of the people who have never done it, it's like very hard, you know, because of the way that I say to people when they say voiceover, I don't say don't go into it, because anybody can go into it and you can score on it. There's all kinds of things going on, commercials, there's a lot of short films, there's so much work to be done, so you can get it. I say it's easy to get on-camera work than it is to get, legitimate voiceover work.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that. I want to plug my next panel, 4:45, making your own home voiceover studio and how to get into the voiceover industry, because it can be done. You can actually do it without an agent and everything. That's what I've done. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, you just kind of segued into, because I wanted to plug that. We should take advantage of it.
We should too.
We should. We're talking right now.
No, but I mean, we don't want to take up their
No.
But if we're our own personal agendas.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. I'm sorry, this is your time. But
no, it's your time too, Jason.
It's our time.
You're being judged on this video as well.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, if you guys are interested in what he's talking about, 4:45.
So that will lead right into that.
Yeah, room 304.
304. It's right down the road, about a mile this way. By camel. Anyway, all of that story I was talking about disparaging comments. You didn't think I was going to back to that, did you? Disparaging, steel trap. Anyway, disparaging comments about Cameron Diaz and all these people doing these because you would see videos of them sitting around, and Cameron would not have much makeup on. She'd be in jeans and a t-shirt, and they'd be like acting with one another. See how I'm talking disparaging? They'd be interpreting and looking at each other and having a laugh and having a Sprite and all this wonderful stuff, and getting $2 million, $3 million for not having to even dress up. Not having to put makeup on, So I would always talk disparagingly about their ability to hang out together. But the truth is, that's more not the norm either. I found out that that's not happening as much as I thought. More often than not, you can't get anybody together. So often you will find Cameron Diaz alone, just like you were. Just like me, man. Just like Cameron Diaz. With a cup! No.
And not even a Sprite.
It's not even a Sprite.
But that's true. I mean, those things that you're talking about, they shoot those as promotional videos. They say, oh, look how cutesy it is, these actors working together. They get people to see the film, and the reality is, it's usually just you in a booth by yourself.
That's right. Yeah. That's it. It's an interesting thing. They just piece everything together, and they animate around the voice, which is, which leads to perhaps answering another question, which might have existed somewhere in the ether. Probably somewhere, which is, how does it get done? A lot of people seem to be on the impression that sometimes it was done like that years ago, where you would have an artist kind of come in, and they already had the cartoon sort of put together. They didn't have the technology with bending the sound and slowing down, and literally to be able to view the sound visually, with all those things, and you kind of stretch it out, and they weren't able to do that back in the day. So you would sometimes see these cartoons, and the mouths would be moving, and you have to sync it up. You have to, watch it and go, okay, 3, 2, 1, blah, 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 and then, oh, shoot, that didn't sync up. You try to very, very, time-consuming. And then sometimes you have no choice. In certain situations, they used to be able to fix it, but there are certain situations, especially in situations when you had I remember the old Astro Boys. Anybody remember Astro? Come on in!
Yeah, come on in. Again, if you guys if you wouldn't mind just kind of moving, just kind of as best you can, moving.
Do me a favor, let Venom and the Black Widow a little bit further away. I'm a little afraid of them, actually. But God bless, whatever you need, guys. Sprites,
We don't want sprites.
That's right, so I'm afraid. Come on, man. What would be scary about that? Anyway, So, what was I talking about, man?
Oh, we've gone in so many different directions.
So just now.
Astro Boys.
Astro Boy,
right.
thank you.
Syncing up the lips.
It's the first time I really got lost. He killed me. It's his fault. Stand up for a second, would you, man? Look at it. Look at these people. Wouldn't you forget? Got better applause than I got, man.
No.
Anyway.
Kids and animals never work.
Take it easy, man. Anyway, so Astro Boy, the Japanese, and then they would take out the artists, the Japanese voice, and they would dub in English. So how about I remember as a kid finding those voices a little weird sounding. And I remember something as simple as Dr. Elephant saying, "Hello, Astro Boy. Hello, Astro Boy." And I would wonder, why is he saying boy? Why is he saying, hello, Astro Boy? Because his mouth was open too long. So the artist had to fill it in and keep boy. Very weird, right? So there was sometimes some unnatural sounding things in some of those vocal things, cartoons in the past.
I've actually done one of those before. It was an educational animated thing called Dr. W. It was made in Spain, so I had to shoehorn the English translation into the mouth movements of the Spanish, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Crazy.
It was challenging.
Wow. So you're doing that. Your voiceover is very much a part of your thinking.
Oh, most definitely.
This is good. Yeah.
But this is about you, and this is about questions. You guys have any questions? We'll start right over there, this gentleman.
Okay, go ahead, man.
I was wondering, I don't know if you've seen a lot of the episodes of.
Should I?
Well,
I'll do it. I'll do it, Jason. You say relax, Jason. What is it?
Yeah.
Is it on?
Here, I tell you what, it is on. It's a very weak mic. I tell you what, if anyone has any questions, let's go ahead and start a queue, if you don't mind, and you can actually start right over here, right behind. Yeah. Just right behind here. If you don't mind. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm gonna. All right. I'll say here. I'll just kind of go like this.
So I was just wondering, I don't know if you've seen a lot of the episodes of First Encounter, but what would be your number one favorite episode?
Favorite episode. Okay. Well, first of all, I can't say just one. Oh, I can honestly, definitively say one. Can anybody guess what I would find the most favorite episode? The first one.
Yeah, it was the
Because it was, it was like, wow, right?
Are you talking about the short?
The shadow? No, not. I wasn't in the short.
You weren't in the
I
short?
wanted to spell for something, guys. You know the one in 1995? Some of you might have known about that one. Anybody know there was a film called The Chicken from Outer Space? Yeah. It was nominated for an Academy Award. John Dilworth did that, and I was not the voice of that. I was 3 years in the future at that point. Or was that 3 years in the past? Wait, am I 3 years in the... Yeah, something like that. So anyway, so not that one, but I'm saying the very first one, The Shadow of Courage, because that was the first one I'd ever done, and I would watch it. It was very exciting. So I have an emotional attachment to it. But I would say probably 3 others. I like the King Ramses curse. I know that's what everybody's favorite, but also for me, I also happen to like Freaky Fred. Yeah. That was scary. And then, in a different sort of way, the Cat's Motel.
Thank you very much.
Well, he kind of stole my question. So
That's okay.
Backup question.
Backup question.
What is your least favorite episode and why?
Oh, wait. Least favorite. First of all, I want to be honest with you. I have not seen all the episodes. But one of the ones that I had trouble with was the one with, I don't even know what it was called. There was I think he was a Chinese guy with like a, huh?
That's his name, right? The one where you going right there.
Yeah, and he was a really annoying character for me, and I felt him to be maybe just a tad on the racist side. I don't think they meant it like that. It was done for, been good. But I found it to be a little irritating. I'm not usually that overly sensitive about that. Come on, if you can't take a joke, a little bit of that. But just generally, I found him a very irritating character. Didn't find him that funny. That was, I guess, that's what I can remember. Just ain't much these days. Sure, buddy.
Woo! So, this question was interesting. In the upcoming Rocco's movie, Rocco reacts yelling a lot about the whole modern 21st century. And my question is oddly similar. How would Courage react to the 21st century?
Whoa, that's a very nice question. I would think that Courage would probably respond really well to the 21st century because, first of all, he seems to love the computer. And number two, the whole idea is that he should be able to fathom just about anything. He's afraid of monsters from outer space and the most creepy creatures, and he's terrified of them, and if he's able to vanquish them, he should be able to vanquish high technology, I'm thinking, no?
Yeah, honestly, actually when I watched
Pretty good the way it came out.
Actually, when I watched the teaser trailer for the thing on YouTube, I honestly thought Courage would be the same with Rocco because he was all like, oh, the 21st century is a very dangerous century because everyone's crowded, the whole, and there was a scene where they had this thing called Sludgo and it was radioactive.
Oh, wow.
I think Courage would easily freak out.
I think so, too. Absolutely.
He would like scream like he would like get some anti-water and say, what I do, and then looks at the anti-water and says, can I borrow that anti-water, please? And thank you, and
I think you just read the whole episode.
Thank
you so much. Thank you.
I really like the Great Eggplant episode.
Oh, a lot of people like that.
Before this question, someone dropped their phone right before. This gentleman over here. What's on the screen when you first turn it on?
Okay, it depends what it is. The lock screen or the normal screen?
As soon as I turn it on, what am I looking at?
Is it the lock screen? Okay,
Yes.
it's either an old guy with a scythe or a cool-looking fish person.
This person is the winner!
What's the password?
Courage!
Yeah, one's on, yeah.
Like I heard that John Doe, like he passed around the fog of courage.
The fog of courage?
Yeah. Is he still trying to do like a revival?
I don't know anymore. It's a little disconcerting, but I keep hearing about they're going to do it, and they tried with the fog of courage. It seemed as if with the fog of courage, which, Frank, it was a very low budget thing. It was really not meant. It sort of made its way to YouTube and made its way around. It sort of looks as if it's this finished product. It really isn't, actually. I don't know how it just sort of got there because you know how things get places and
it's all CGI.
It's all CGI, which I think is a mistake. I just doesn't work for the context of Courage, which is a 2D. I think cartooning with CGI in general should be approached very warily. I don't think that should never be done, but I think you should be, because cartooning.
Just say it should be made.
It should be destroyed! The truth, man. It's a 2D medium. Roadrunner, as he's Wile E. Coyote's falling down from the cliff and he's stretching out like this, and then he smashes down, he's flat as a pancake, and everybody totally accepts that sensibility. CGI, we're gonna look for the reality of it in our minds. Our minds are gonna wrap ourselves around that imagery, and we're gonna forget to laugh. Seems like that, anyway. You're welcome, man.
Hello.
Hello.
Name's Matthew. My question is, like, The show Courage the Cowardly Dog features a wide variety of villains and monsters. Like, out of all of them, which of them were your favorite?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, as I said, I do think Freaky Fred was, pretty horrendous. That terrible image of some sort of furry, what is it, in a glass thing inside of
The hamster gerbil.
I don't know what that was.
Back of the slab.
And it was very disconcerting. I guess for me to a certain extent, again, I love Cats because of his absolute, hey, cool cat, baby. Barely moved, and he was just, wreaking havoc. I did enjoy those guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good pleasure.
Hey,
Hi.
what would you say is your favorite part of voicing Courage?
My favorite part of the actual technical aspect of voicing it, or just that I'm doing it?
No, like overall, like what's your favorite, what's your favorite thing to do? Like, what's your favorite segment when you go into an episode, like the average episode? What's the moment that you look forward to the most?
The moment I look forward to the
Paycheck.
That's it.
Absolutely. Getting paid, honestly, it's funny you say that. Getting paid was a miraculous thing. The idea of getting paid for this nonsense, of course it's not nonsense, but this wonderful nonsense, But yeah, my favorite thing within the context of it is certainly being able to, the idea every time I walk in, I know that there's this idea that within the context of the limitations of this whole medium and the idea that we're just, give me number 2, Courage babbles. Give me number 4, Courage says, which by the way, took one, something about popping his head out of the dirt or something like that, and he had me do, something like about 30 times. He kept saying, no, try it again, but this time, curious. And at the same time, frustrated. No, it needs to be more frustrated. No, more curious. And then he found something else. It went about 30 times. So, of course, that was at the same time.
I bet it was frustrated.
Yes, he did. So, yeah, but the actual thing, the idea that whatever I've done is totally new, and I'm creating a character as an actor. I'm creating a whole new character that the world is going to see. Very exciting for me. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
There you go.
I don't like microphones, so I'm just gonna speak up.
Good.
What was your favorite line, saying as Courage?
Of the lines, well, I'm sure you probably figured it, but my favorite line was, all the things I do for love.
I just saw that happen.
That's okay.
First off, I love Courage the Cowardly Dog since I was a kid. My only question is, did you love being Courage?
I love being Courage. I still love being Courage.
Yeah!
But by the way, first of all, for the obvious reasons, I'm getting the chance to be out there. I'm doing this, right? This whole thing is wonderful for me. I love just the idea of being expressive. But it is a beautiful message. Legitimately, he's not only, it's not only face your fears, but face your terrors. Absolute petrified. Not just, oh, I'm afraid, but terrified. And yet somehow the idea of facing your fears and moving forward, is a wonderful message. So I feel like I legitimately am furthering that message by having participated in that.
That's the same thing I went through my whole life. That's the same thing.
Very nice.
Hello, my name is Eddie. I myself am an actor, and something that my acting teachers tell me all the time is that acting is reacting.
Yes.
But in a booth by yourself, you have no one to react to. So do you find it harder to find any kind of levels of emotion or trying to find a character?
Well, that's a great question, by the way. But, and that is most definitely true. Acting is reacting. And when I do on-camera stuff, it is much, the task is much more to the point with that. You say something to me and I'm going to look at you and I'm going to, my response to you is really, and then the lines come out of that. For sure, that is truthful, right? I mean, hopefully that it's truthful. But then in the context of a booth, of course, there is no body to react to, but, so what you do is, in your mind, you create a situation. I literally would try what's happening there. A monster just said something to me. I don't remember what it was, and I'm like, and then it's like I imagine it, and then I react within my mind. I'm creating that monster said something, and I reacted to it. So I was able to do that. Try to, within the context of that, be truthful to that. Age-old tenet of acting. Truth be known, sometimes it's just a bunch of nonsense. Just say the line, damn it. Just say the line. No reacting, no acting, reacting. Just say the line.
Stop visualizing.
No visual, just say it. By the way, before I, go to the next person. Story from Dustin Hoffman and Laurence Olivier in Marathon Man. Anybody ever see that movie?
Yeah.
Not that many.
Is it safe? Only the old.
Is it safe? The dentist? All right. Anyway, very frightening. So, Dustin Hoffman comes from the method, really experiencing, being that thing. And Olivier comes from the old British school of wearing the mask, well-trained, rehearsed, wearing a mask, or the mask being, assuming this character and getting an accent and getting everything just right. Totally different schools of acting. Dustin Hoffman, during one of the scenes of Marathon Man, he's running a lot, right? He's running, right? He's constantly running. And so he wanted to literally, wanted to come to the scene, rather than just come into the scene and, he wanted to literally run around the block so he could walk in completely out of breath. So he wanted to make Olivier wait to deliver the next scene. So Olivier said, "My dear boy, have you tried acting?" So it's kind of a cool thing. Sometimes it's just say the lines, man. Figure it out.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
My question is, if Curse the Cowardly Dog was restarted again, what would you like to see in the series? Like Kirk's parents, or especially the family, with more than Muriel and Eustace?
I would like to see him have some sort of an evil, rabid brother. Just came to me. Yeah, an evil, rabid brother. So let's see what. And every once in a while, it's the brother of courage, and the brother is torturing him, and he's got to get out of that, because let's face it, the stuff that happens at home, the most frightening stuff of all, right? See how his uncomfortable response? Touch the nerve with some of these people, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Write that down. Evil, rabid brother.
I kept the mythology alive.
Something like that. The mythology.
You kept the mythology alive.
Very important.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon. It's working?
Yeah. It's good. Don't worry.
Step up.
My name is Adrian. First of all, I know I said it before when I met you at your booth, but again, your work as Courage the Cowardly Dog has been part of my childhood, and it's been like one of the best original Cartoon Network series.
Yes.
Oh yes! Oh yes!
Back then, first off, world premiere tours where they premiered the shorts, kind of how they made the shows and actually gave them a full series. And then up to the point when they have the new episodes every Friday, Cartoon Fridays. I always enjoyed the opening for Cartoon Fridays, and he had that line for Courage the Cowardly Dog, "Don't make me sing."
Well, don't make me sing?
Yes.
Oh, yes? So you wanted me to say that for you? Is that the question?
I know the line.
Yes.
But it just,
Yes!
Say it!
Oh, don't make me sing!
say, what is like being part in such of a legacy for Cartoon Network?
An honor. An honor. It's an honor. And Guy, a brilliant guy comes up with creates a series, gets animators, he gets artists, he gets musicians, the music is incredible. Jody Gray, incredible music. You know, he comes up with this whole idea to go on, and the fact that it was 4 years, 102 cartoons, individual cartoons. The idea that would, you know, that to be a part of something like that as an actor, it's mind-boggling, and it is absolutely an honor. There's no question about it. My part in it, while it is certainly, I don't deny that it is an important part, but it is just really one part of a much larger whole. And so I'm very, very happy to be part of something like that, for sure.
And look forward for any endeavors in the near future.
Thank you, man. Thank you. We're back to God's ear.
Let it go, bro.
Evil rabbit brother, maybe. Hello.
Say that you really did make my childhood. I love Courage.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, what's your favorite characteristic that Courage has?
Favorite characteristic? I mean, I guess one could say, oh yeah, I guess his loyalty to his, you know, his parents, even the obnoxious and, you know, borderline abusive father guy, but he still kind of saved the day for both of them, yeah, right? I mean, he wasn't just only rescuing her and leaving him to drown, he rescued both of them. We should have left him to drown. See you later, guys. Listen, I know you got better things to do. I understand. Don't worry. Thank you for coming, really, seriously. You ask your question, you don't need me anymore. But anyway, yes, so I that is the loyalty. You're welcome.
He really is a selfless character.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah.
So, right? The kindness.
Hello, my name is Priscilla. I'm also an actress. I just got my degree in theater. And my question is, whenever I speak to voice actors, they always say that the way to get into voice acting is to just be performing and being in film and that kind of thing. But, okay, I kind of have like a two-part question. The first being, what is really expected on a reel? Is it things you've already been a part of, or is it just things that you think you would be good for? And then the second part would be, do you think that dubbing is also a good way to get into voice acting, or is film more of a...
What do you mean by dubbing?
Like translating, like a telenovela to English.
Oh, if you're, oh, I see. If you are a voice, are you bilingual?
Yes.
Okay, so first to answer the first question. The answer to the first part of your question is both. Number one, things that you have done certainly are the most, you know, looked upon. If you could identify it as something you already accomplished, the perception is that you're actually a successful actor. And they're more interested in you if you already have gotten work, even if you're good and not having gotten work. It's a little weird the way it works, but on a certain level, I guess I can understand. It's like that with most jobs anyway. They want to know you had the experience and whatever that is. But the other part is, more often than not, anybody breaking in doesn't have that much work, so you gotta come up with whatever you can, little things, some things that there's copy, there's commercial copy that you can kind of do, or there are people that actually write mock commercials or mock spots, or you write something yourself and you put that reel together. So you do both. Whatever you have, you include. If you have nothing, well, you're gonna have to create something. So you create little things that you can, you know, and just make sure that everything is really short. Short. Whole voice reel, a minute and a half. You know, if that long. Minute and 10, minute and 15, better. You know, but you know, no more than a minute and a half. And you know, and a bunch of little snippets of stuff that usually have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Or the feeling of the beginning, a middle, and an end, at any rate. So that's the first part regarding that. And the second part, as far as where you get into, you're saying most people say do some real acting and maybe you'll get, well, there's a reason why, and I actually did cover that earlier about the hierarchy, making it so it's different. Unknowns are often getting work on camera. They don't know. You don't know who they because it's like, oh wow, she'd be great. She was terrific. All right, and she's cheap. We won't have to pay her as much, so we'll get her in. She'll be able to get into the thing, But the whole idea being with voiceover that it's really very hard. So when they tell you to try to get some on-camera work, and hopefully you're interested, because a lot of people come up to me today, I want voiceover. I said, you want acting? Well, they in a way, they want the quick fix that voiceover gives, which is exactly what Tom Hanks and Cameron Diaz are getting. They're doing the quick fix as well. They don't have to kill themselves. Tom Cruise doesn't have to do stunts when he's in the booth. So it's very easy, couple of $1 million. But, so the idea is that hierarchy, I would say that they're telling you that they're doing the right thing. Try to do some acting. I'm not saying don't go for the voiceover thing, but maybe view it, because then they might say, you have a wonderful voice. Do you have a voiceover reel? Because I might be able to get you some, and you show them the reel. So you get the reel, but try to get real acting stuff. But your bilingual thing, to answer the second part of that second part, is a wonderful tool, and what is the language? Portuguese. Are you also fluent in Spanish?
I would be if I was reading, but I'm not conversating.
Right, because Spanish, Portuguese and Spanish, you could easily do the Spanish thing, right? If you know the Portuguese, you'd be able to, if you worked at it,
yes.
You could be able, because there's so much more in Spanish language, dubbing, as you say. And that is a wonderful area, because there's not as many people that are fluent in Spanish, that there's a lot of work coming out of these countries that are Latino based. So absolutely, that would be a wonderful thing to do. Whew,
and come to my panel 4:45. I can also give you some tips as well.
Thank you so much.
Here's our last question.
Hi. So getting back to courage, you've done so many screams, and you mentioned that you had a library of screams.
Yes.
So how did you come up with all the screams? And I think everyone would love to hear you.
Oh, you'll hear one.
do
Whatever
your
I got
favorite
left.
scream.
And then I got 2 hours left in the con, and I'll be able to drag me away. But anyway, but how did I get the scream? They would record in each episode. In other words, what happens is that I did 4 seasons. So after about 3 or 4 or 5 cartoons, I've done many screams already, long screams. And that's because after a while, you're going to make somebody lose their voice. So that's how those screams got assembled. But you want me to...
Did you ever keep a count how many actual screams you ended up doing? Hundreds recorded.
I don't know. Could have been hundreds. 102 screens. Well, 102 episodes, 102 cartoons. Yeah, probably a couple of hundred, 200, 300.
Were you in the studio?
What's that?
How many days a week were you in the studio? Like
Well, I would
one
do
episode, like how?
1 day, 2.5 hours. I would record 2 cartoons. 2 11-minute cartoons would be 1 episode. 1 day. Nice. Very economical. You want to hear a scream, right?
Ooga booga!